Hi, and thank you for clicking on this video. If you're interested in seeing how I made this guy, stick around and consider pressing that sub button. So I'm going to put everything you need on the screen. So basically I'm just starting off with the plastic bags and the scrap paper. You want to just fill an entire bag up and don't let all the air out, just maybe like a little bit of it, but not the entire bag. Squish it down and move it around until you're happy with the shape. You want it to look like a ball, like it's going to be a pumpkin. And then I'm just going to tie a knot. And then with the tape, you want to go around the entire thing tightly to create the dents, like in the side of the pumpkin. And just keep wrapping the tape around until you're happy with it. So I wanted to add a little bit more depth to the pumpkin and the lines. So I got some yarn on a needle and I thread it through the middle of it, and then went and followed the tape lines exactly so I could accentuate the divots more. This part is completely optional, but I tied a knot in one end and then thread it through the middle and just pull to create a little bit more detail in the pumpkin, like that. So I actually wasn't happy with the shape. I felt it was too small. So instead of redoing it, I just basically did that step all over again and stacked it on top of that one, and then taped them both in the exact same places I taped the other one. So it just brought it up one level. The next thing I did was paper mache the entire thing. You want to do about 4 layers. I got impatient and only did 3, and it was very fragile, so definitely do 4 or more even. I think paper mache is pretty basic. It's just flour and water, and then you dip the newspaper in it and put it on. Or you could brush it on with a brush even. Lots of different ways to do paper mache. And you want to make sure that each layer of paper mache dries completely before you start the next one, otherwise there's a chance it could go mouldy in there. Now I'm just marking out where I want my armholes and my leg holes and the face. If you're wanting to measure everything, you can totally do that, but I just went for it. It turned out all good. So for the legs, I had this other Halloween decoration that had like wooden dowels on it, as you can see there, and I needed the wooden dowels, so you could just buy some wooden dowels or use sticks or wire, but I just stuck them in the leg holes and used that as my foundation for the legs. I am going to hot glue them in because they were really loose because I was impatient and didn't wait long enough for it to dry. Now to create the arms and hands, I'm just using wire. I started like the shoulder part and then come down to the fingers and just make 3 fingers. You could do it however you like, it's really a freedom thing, but I just wanted 3 fingers because it was easier for me. So at the end where it meets the shoulder, I created this like spiral circle thing so I could shove it in the hole there. and I'm going to hot glue everything in, the arms and the legs, so that it stays there, but it was just for extra support. So as you can see, it's all hot glued in. Now comes the most annoying part of the entire project, the spray foam. I'm just doing some last minute adjustments. I'm going to put up on the screen the spray foam that I got. It's from Bunnings and it was about $15, and I only needed one, but I did have to buy two because the first can was mucking up and then just wouldn't come out eventually, so I had to go and get another one, but one should do it. And the entire process was just super frustrating because every time I sprayed it on anywhere, it would just slide off. I have no advice for you for this. I just kept grabbing it and putting it back on until it was tacky enough to actually stick. And then I actually had to wait for a layer to dry, then come back and do another layer because it just wouldn't stick, and it was so annoying. And this is me applying probably the 5th damn layer on this thing, but finally it was done and it was stuck to the cardboard that I was doing it on, so I just cut it off there and I had to take the cardboard with me. Now I'm going to tell you how to make the paper mache clay. So basically, like paper mache, you want to cut up some strips of newspaper and soak them in water for like a day or two. Hot water is probably the best to start with. And then, like you would when you're making like recycled paper, you want to crush it all, or I don't know the word, but blend it all until it's like really slushy like. You really have to make sure it's all blended properly, otherwise your clay is not going to work out. Now when it's all blended, you want to get yourself a tea towel and do basically what I'm doing, just put a pile of it into it and squeeze out all the water, and then you're left with like a clay ball. After you've done that to all your paper, after it's been soaking for a while, after you've blended it, after you've drained it, you want to break it up. So you've squeezed it and it turns into a big ball. Now you have to break it up like I'm doing, otherwise it's just not going to turn into clay. The smaller pieces, the better. I was kind of rushing at this point, so my pieces aren't as small as they should have been. Now there are no measurements. I did not measure anything. I just went for it until I was happy with the consistency. So you want to put PVA glue in, just a little bit to start with. And then you want to add your flour to the crushed up paper. Again, no measurements, I have no idea, just put it in. And then you want this. It is Joint Compound from Bunnings. I don't remember the price, I think $30 or something. And it is what holds everything together. You cannot make this without this. Well, maybe you could, I don't know how it would turn out, but you need it. And then you want to add some water. Again, I did not measure that, I just got, I don't know what it was, 2-3 handfuls of it. And then you want to knead the entire thing. Add more glue if you need it, add more flour until it is the consistency that you see there, that it's not like super wet, it's not super dry, it can move. Just keep kneading and kneading and kneading until it looks like this. I went ahead and I carved some of the spray foam off because some of it was really bulging out and I didn't like it. So I carved that. I carved his face out. Obviously the bag is behind it, but I'll show you how to fix that in a minute. So once you're happy with everything, how you've carved it, you want to just start covering it. Press it out so that it's flat like I showed you before, and then just lay it on. To get this effect, I literally just shoved some of the clay into the crevice, like you can see here that I just shoved it so it's touching the plastic bag, and it's like covering the teeth and the eye holes, but there's no gap, so you can't see the purple. Oh, and if it's too heavy, because obviously it's all wet and everything, it will do this. It ripped the arm, so I had to use all this crap underneath it to hold it up. That might happen. You just need to get something to hold it up while you let it dry. Now I'm using the clay tools to just put all my markings in. Like, I just put heaps of lines, heaps of dints to make it look like a pumpkin. I mean, the process of covering it with the clay took me like 3 days, so I mean, it's really up to you how you want it. Some people like to just throw it on there. Some people don't even use clay, they just use paper mache. But I wanted to add all those textures, like the lines and the sharp teeth and everything. And now I'm painting it. I didn't film the process of that because I was super disappointed with it. So you just paint it how you want to paint it. But basically, he's done. I just added, well, I took that off because I mucked it up. But he's done. You just gotta do painting. Now you want to add your pitchfork to his hand. You have to make sure that when you're making it, his hand is like that. And then obviously do your own paint job because mine absolutely reeks. And then he's done. I mean, you don't have to get this devil pitchfork thing, you could get something else. And he's done, basically. I'm sorry that was a very rushed tutorial, but I gave you the basics of it. Just the paint job you have to work out for yourself, because I don't want you following me because it'll just turn out awful. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, I will definitely answer them, because I definitely missed something in this video. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm sure I missed something. So comment your questions and I will answer. Thank you for watching. Bye!